You're listening to the Epically Geeky Show, a place for all things geeky.
Welcome back to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 41. I am your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight's opening question is, which would you prefer to watch, Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, Cyrus Martin?
Are we talking about part one of each?
We're going to, you know what, I'm going to let you pull any one of them.
Oh.
Any one of them.
Okay, so Freddy versus Jason is out of the question, right?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's going to be the only one we're going to disqualify.
Damn it!
Just because that would technically be both.
That was my answer.
Yeah, it was a good one. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Which one was that one? I don't remember.
The Dream Warriors.
The Dream Warriors, okay.
The big one, the big Hollywood thing that changed horror movies for the 80s. I mean, huge. Made Robert Englund a household name.
Yeah, that was. I think that was probably the epitome of the Nightmare movies. Although that first one was really good.
No, it was. See, the first two were legit horror movies, but the third one changed horror movies. It changed all horror movies and made them into this Hollywood spectacle. I mean, the advertising, I can still remember the TV ads they ran for Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where they were going around interviewing people at the movie theaters as they came out, talking about what they thought about the movie. And like,
oh shit, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it changed horror movies. They had Robert Englund on Good Morning America. Like, he was being interviewed with clips from from Nightmare on Elm Street. It was that big. They changed. I'm telling you.
Crazy.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Good pick. Ray, Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th?
I just like the story behind Nightmare on Elm Street better. Jason's cool and all, and yeah, he comes out of the lake and stuff, but then they send him to space and stuff. And so, give me the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Gotcha. Chris, what would you say?
That I haven't seen any of them.
Really? You haven't seen any of them?
No, and I don't want to. So I picked none. I've never seen them. I only know of them because of like little snippets from pop culture videos or their posters, but I don't like horror movies.
I would say let me go ahead and give my answer and then because it kind of plays into that. I never have been a big horror movie guy, even growing up. I have seen several of them here and there. I've actually seen more Friday the 13th movies. Unfortunately, we had a babysitter that showed it to us when we were really young and like really messed my brother and me up. But then I remember I was either in middle school or high school, and I was sleeping over at a friend's house, and they had HBO, and Jason Takes Manhattan was on. And I remember laughing my ass off at that movie. It was so bad. Yeah. That being said, as an adult, I went back and watched a couple of them here and there. And I went back and watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And yeah, not really scary at all being an adult. And of course, 20, 30 years removed. But the special effects is what was really interesting to me on that. Like, I literally was I was looking up, how the hell did they do this scene and so on and so forth. So from a filmmaking aspect, Nightmare on Elm Street all the way, but just from the character as well, like Freddy's always been more interesting to me anyway. So I would go Nightmare on Elm Street anyway, but that's what I was going to say. If you're even slightly interested in like how they kind of make stuff, I would suggest I would go back and watch at least the first Nightmare on Elm Street, because watching the special effects, the scene where the blood is like just like pouring and gushing out of the bed and like, shooting up and hitting the ceiling.
Yeah.
I sat there watching that and I thought, how the hell did they do that back in the day? So I looked it up, and they literally built that entire room, flipped it upside down, and basically built like a small pool with red water on it. And then like basically just opened it up and let it gush down. And of course, had the camera upside down. That's how they did that shot. And I'm like,
Crazy.
That's the only way that would make sense, because I was like, with no computer effects back then, it's like, it was mind blowing to me, the fact that they went through all of that to get that shot, but they did. So
back then, you gotta give them credit. They had some badass visuals on that first Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh yeah, especially for like I said, not being able to do any, because nowadays it's like, okay, well, it's most likely computer generated, but back then when there wasn't a possibility, it was like, well, how the hell did they figure to do that out? So
what I love about that first one is the eeriness of everything. How they whenever she would go into the dream or whatever, and they would just slow things down, and it would have that weird echoey noise, and people like would talk, and it would be Freddy but he was weird and strange. He wasn't like just like, like he became like a comic book super villain.
yeah,
But like, in the first two Nightmare on Elm Streets, especially the first one, he was strange and freaky and mysterious and scary.
and in the intro and in the intro credits, introduced as Fred
Krueger. Yeah.
not Freddy, Fred.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, Fred's not as scary.
And his voice was different. That's the other thing. The first two Nightmare on Elm Streets, his voice was like this, Freddy Krueger. And then later on, it was just Robert Englund, a little bit slowed down with a little bit of distortion. But in those first two movies, his voice was like very different. Like they didn't show detail in his face. Like they kept him real mysterious. I mean, it was, man, but some of those visuals like you're talking about, remember the scene where she's laying in bed and like he starts coming through the wall and it's like bending the wall out, and I'm
not upset that I didn't watch any of this stuff. This doesn't.
Well, like I said, watching it as an adult, and and especially experiencing it, like taking it apart, from like a film, of course, Si and I, studied this stuff or whatever, but it's interesting. It's just like, wow, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's some creepy stuff, man. When she's in the bathtub and he comes out of the water and drags her down, and like you can see like the top of the bathtub through the water, and it's like she's in this infinite blackness of water with this hole of light up in the top.
Yeah, I don't remember how they did that. See, like I said, I went and like looked up like the making of that movie afterwards because it intrigued me so much. I was like,
yeah,
what? Yeah,
a lot better. I gotta say, Nightmare on Elm Street is way better than Friday the 13th. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because the Friday the 13th, you know what? Just now that we're talking about even more, like the kills are definitely more inventive. Because I mean, basically in the Jason movies, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna get stabbed or. Well, pretty much you're going to get stabbed. It's just going to be what are you going to get stabbed with and where?
Yeah, and it's teenagers fucking all the time, and then they get killed while they're doing it, and it's supposed to be like a moral, I don't know, whatever. Nightmare on Elm Street was like sadistic, it was.
Yeah. Well, he's invading the dreams, and it's awesome.
He's cutting off his own fingers, and just weird shit, just. Yeah, anyway. And then, of course, later on, he becomes fucking awesome in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
I need to go back and watch that one again. So, it's been a long time since I've seen that
You
one.
talk about special effects. That third one, holy shit.
See, now I'm thinking I really need to go back and watch it. Now that you're like, the special effects, I'm like, damn it, yeah. So,
dude, there's a scene where Freddy is like a giant snake, and he eats this chick. Anyway, you'd have to go back to see it to be like, wow, they did all that with animatronics and stuff. That's fucking awesome. It's pretty crazy. But that's the level that it had gotten to. I mean, it was a different time,
I wonder if there's any really good documentaries like that on Netflix. I may have to look
Good.
this
I
up.
don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe not on Netflix, but they'll be out there.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into our topic for tonight. Of course, being children of the 80s, most of us, majority of us here, watched at least a couple of horror movies here and there, and played video games. And of course, back in the day, back in the 80s, we had the big one was the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and of course, you want to, everyone's playing the Nintendo, so you want to try to make movie tie-ins as much as you can. I mean, we still do that with games. It seems like they just figured out within the last decade or so how to make a good movie into a game. But there were a lot of horror games, and believe it or not, there was a Nightmare on Elm Street game on the NES. You may or may not remember it. There was a Friday the 13th, Jaws. Yeah, they turned a lot of these, or at least tried to turn a lot of these horror movies into NES games. The problem is trying to translate a movie like that into a game doesn't usually come off very well, and you end up getting these games that have nothing to do with the movie. Like, basically, it's of course you're going to be most likely fighting the main bad guy from the movie, Freddy or Jason or whoever, but the events in the game really don't match up too closely to the movie. So with that thought, I asked the team to basically come up with we're going to go back to the days of the NES. So we're talking about old 8-bit video games. But to take
8 school? Did you say 8 school?
Yes, I was thinking. And to take modern horror movies and turn them into 8-bit classic games. So yeah, let's see what the group came up with. Would anyone like to volunteer one first?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right, Ray, what you got for us?
All right, so I'm going to throw you off a little bit. I'm going to go with a little movie called Frozen. Now, hear me out. It's not the one you think it is. This is 2010. And I don't know if you remember this one, but this is a movie about a group of friends is going skiing and snowboarding, and they get onto the lift for free because the girl, bats her eyes at the guy, and he's like, yeah, okay, you guys can go on. And so they're going up the chairlift, and they're having a good time, and they get on one last time, and don't they shut down the park with everybody, with just those three left on the chairlift. And it's Sunday, and they're going to be reopening on Friday, so they're going to be there the entire time. And so the whole movie is about them being on this chairlift, freezing to death, and that's that's the movie.
Yeah, I just looked it up on IMDb. Now, how are you going to turn this into an 8-bit game? Where are we going with this?
So the game is, because of course, like you just said, it doesn't have to do everything with the movie. You are a chairlift operator, and you must get the line of people up the hill. So that's what you are. You're the chairlift operator. And think of Tapper, the game Tapper, where you got to get the beer across. So that was kind of my thought process behind that one. So now instead of getting the beer across, you're actually throwing the people on the chairs, and then the chairs would take them away. And so you've got these different lines. You got to run it all over the place and get all these people up the ski hill without it shutting down. And if too many people miss it, then the whole thing shuts down.
Gotcha. That's an interesting way of taking it. Would have never thought about that. That's not a bad one. Good job, sir.
Yeah.
Sai, you want to go next?
All right, I got an easy one. This is the Blair Witch Project. Okay. It's not real new, but so basically, there's 3 teenagers who venture out in search of a witch named Blair who will grant them magic powers so they can save the forest from the evil loggers. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up like Streets of Rage.
Okay.
So basically, like, you're going in circles constantly. Like, you repeat the same level over and over and over and over. You do have little camping segments like Golden Axe did between levels.
Not bad. Okay.
But basically, the game just does not end. And, eventually, like, basically you get one life, and you don't get any more lives after that. So, like, when whoever you're playing with, and it's like 4-player co-op.
Oh,
So
okay.
Like whoever dies off, they just die off. But you can get back into the game if they can find all of the pieces, the little clue baskets that are left by the Blair Witch for everybody. And then the Blair Witch will piece you back together and make you magical again. Blair Witch is like she looks like the good witch from Wizard of Oz. So, yeah. I figure, I don't know. What do y'all think? The last boss could be like Donald Trump or something,
Oh, God.
That's pretty much all I got on that one.
All right. That's an interesting take on it. I went with 28 Days Later.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4 weeks after a mysterious, incurable virus spreads to the UK, a handful of survivors try to find sanctuary. It's qualified as a zombie movie, but it's that fast running zombie that I don't really think is true zombie. It's more like they're more like rage induced like beings or whatever. Well, obviously I thought this is going to be a side scroller, and this is going to be in the vein of Contra. So you're constantly going to have people running after you, and you're just going to have to keep shooting them. You're going to get different weapons. Like I said, basically we're going to steal the Contra engine, and you're going to have dogs running after you because they can get infected and like come after you or whatever. Then you have the birds that are like dropping blood droplets that will hurt you or whatever. So and then of course the quote unquote zombies. But yeah, we're going to do this in a side scrolling Contra like game. So lots of different weapons. We'll have to figure out some different ones. We have a shotgun, handgun, probably a rifle. But yeah, and it's just basically going to be running through these different. We'll have a city level, then we'll have like a countryside level, and so on and so forth. And of course, the end is to try to get into the sanctuary, which you may have to probably blow down a wall or something to go through a bunch of enemies or something like that. So, and then of course, we have some made up, super zombie or whatever that you have to fight at the end of each level, as the boss character. So, but yeah, I thought we could do 28 days later in the style of Contra. So I thought that might work out.
I think that actually sounds cool.
All right, Chris, what do you have for us?
Okay, so disclaimer. I do not like horror movies at all. And I don't remember the last time I actually watched a real true horror genre movie. They just freak me out. And I also wasn't a very big gamer when I was a kid. Like I don't think I got an NES until I was 11, but then my mom's husband at the time played it more than we did. So I didn't really get into it till I was probably about 12 or 13 maybe. But I do watch suspense movies more than horror movies. So there's 30 Days of Night, which is up in the Arctic Circle where the sun goes down and it doesn't come up for like a whole month, and this town gets invaded by these vampires, and they kind of just take over for 30 days until the sun comes back up.
Damn good movie, by the way.
Yeah, but it freaked the crap out of me. So I was going to do that movie in the vein of Space Invaders, where you're just trying to shoot down all the vampires. Kind of like...
So they come in hordes.
Yeah, they come in hordes, and you're trying to shoot them all down, and sort of like that.
Nice.
I guess.
See, I'm thinking, those in-between levels on Contra where it was kind of like behind, not first person, but you know what I'm saying? You're like behind them or whatever, going back and forth. That's kind of, yeah. Just vampire after vampire. That would be awesome, actually.
Yeah, vampire after vampire just coming at you, and you're just trying to shoot them down.
That would work. Good job. Yeah, suspense movies definitely count. I mean, because a lot of times you look up, if it's horror, it can actually fall under suspense, like drama or suspense horror or whatever. So
but I can't watch like true horror movies. Like I can't watch Hostel or The Conjuring or any.
I don't really watch any of the. Is it called J-horror movies? I'm not really down with them, and I definitely don't do the torture porn stuff. It just
no.
I find it fascinating that you don't really watch horror movies. You're like a badass chick, and you don't watch horror movies.
No, I don't like them. I just think it's just not something that entertains
She's
me.
more into the action movies.
I like action movies where shit blows up, and
Well,
That's what I'm talking about.
but I
There you
don't.
can't-
But I like it. It's gotta. I don't like being scared.
You ought to, next time you tell somebody you don't like horror movies, you should add this. Just say, man, I don't like that pussy shit. Just say it like that.
That's so good for it.
Awesome. Ray, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, so the next one I have is instead of zombies, instead of vampires, we're going with zombies. So World War Z.
Good one. Okay.
Proper pronunciation is World War Z.
Dead.
Whatever, Canada.
All right, so this one I wanted to do a little bit differently. So I want you to think of Doom. So
Dude.
this is a two-player game.
Oh,
And
okay.
some of my favorite games when I was a kid, especially arcade games, were where you could drive around, and so one person would be driving and the other person would be shooting. So
Oh, okay.
you remember those arcades where the one person would have like the gun,
Yep.
and the other guy would be driving?
Uh-huh.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is one of those types of games, but set in a Doom-esque visual. And then what it is the first controller for the NES would be your controller for the vehicle driving around. And then the second controller would be the NES gun. And
Nice. That was
Oh, the
cool.
light
That's-
gun. Yeah.
I didn't even think about incorporating the light gun. Oh my God. That's
so-
great.
By the way, the proper name is Zapper. It is known as the Zapper.
Yes. I apologize.
Even in Canada. Even in Canada.
Yep.
Yes,
Even
it was
here.
still the Zapper.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, I thought you had to make it a two-person game, and then that way you've always got somebody there and shooting away, and I thought that would be kind of a cool way of doing it.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome. I'd play that. I would have played the hell out of that. That would have been great.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
really good.
I was trying to think of games that I would actually want to play. So
I don't know why. I just did not even cross my mind to use the Zapper. I didn't even think about
well,
it.
Well, you can't really
Such
use
a-
it on an LCD screen anymore.
That's
People
true. That's probably why
Oh,
I discredited it. But
can't. I thought of somehow introducing the little dog still. So every time you missed, like the dog would come up and laugh at you.
don't- He's like all zombified or something.
Yeah. He's missing an eyeball. And
It's like, his head falls off.
that would be great. All right, so what's the next one you got for us, man?
Okay. My next one is The Purge.
Okay.
Y'all familiar with the movie The Purge?
Yep.
They've done several of them, and basically it's like one night a year. Everybody can, if you're outside, everybody can kill you or whatever. It's like any crime is like for it's fine or whatever. All right, so the way this works is it's sort of an isometric scrolling game, similar in looks to Paperboy.
Okay.
okay.
The screen keeps scrolling; it doesn't stop. While you're controlling, a dude, whatever, and you have to kill as many people on the street as you can before they can get inside their houses. Points are assigned according to how many people you kill and how bad, and this is in quotes, how bad the death is. So you get like 10 points for a regular adult, 20 for an elderly person, 30 for like kids on bicycles, and 50 for strollers. You have to accumulate at least 500 points per level, or else the game purges you.
Ooh.
So it's basically just like that sort of thing. But it's cool because like you kill the kids on their bikes, then you can get on the bike, and you have more things you can. And then like in an homage to Paperboy, like you can throw like stuff like Molotov cocktails or whatever and burn people and stuff, or ride past them real fast on the bike and cut their head off. And I mean, like brutal, like horror style deaths.
Yeah. Of course, being 8-bit, it'll be like
Yeah, yeah.
You explaining it sounds really sounds horrific, but saying I'm picturing it in my head being 8-bit, and it's just like funny. Yeah, blue, blue. Yeah, pretty much. Not bad. I kind of like that. That's not a bad idea. I hate Paperboy though. Like I'm sure I'd play this game. I would have rented this game, played it a couple of times, and been like, man, I want to play something else.
Yeah, yeah. It's like one of those. It's like one of those cheap, like non-licensed Nintendo games that came with a weird cartridge.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck kind of cartridge is this? It's black and the things are on the bottom. And
one of those tension cartridges.
I can't get it out. I can't get it out of my Nintendo.
The next one I went with was, and I have not seen this movie. I just knew that I was going to use it, so I actually had to look it up and get information on it. I mean, I kind of knew the premise, and that is Saw.
You've seen
I saw the original. I actually enjoyed the original.
Okay.
Did you saw it?
Oh God. I'm gonna do Saw, and I thought we would end up doing this like Shadowgate.
Dude.
So it's gonna be kind of text based. You're gonna have part of the screen that you can like look around or whatever, and then you're gonna have all these options like move, talk, pick up, throw, so on and so forth. And it's just basically you going through like trying to figure out these puzzles and trying to get out of these puzzles, and using you have to collect different items to get through, and you're trying to get out eventually if you can, but of course if you don't solve the puzzles within enough time, or whatever it is, figure out the clever way to get in and out of it, of course you'll die in the game. So but I figured if we did Saw like Shadowgate, that might work out. So
That would work.
It's funny you said that. I had one that I wanted to do like Shadowgate also.
okay,
if you want, I'll just mention it real quick.
go ahead.
I won't go into detail on it anyway because I actually was going to skip it. It's Paranormal Activity. And this is like going with the theory that the game's nothing like the movie. So
Right.
It's point and click Shadowgate. You solve a mystery of a ghost that haunts an old mansion. You find a way to either prove that the ghost is real or fake. It stars J.J. Walker and Chuck Norris as the ghost.
Oh my God.
And then there's tons of FMV from the movie. It's like Sega CD or something like that. That's it.
See, I thought of doing a game. I had an idea for another game, but I want to do it more like the Genesis age, and I was like, no, I said Nintendo 8-bit, so I didn't really go with it. I can't even remember what it was. I may have to. I know what it was. I know what it was. I'll get to it in a minute, and I'll describe it here in a minute. So
Okay.
All right, Chris, did you have another one or?
Yep. So this is a vintage one. It's the first ever horror thing I ever saw. I was about 5. I saw Thriller. Freak. Crap.
The video thriller?
Yeah, the actual video Thriller. The whole thing. I was 5. It was kind of an accident that I watched it. But anyways, I was 5 years old and it was scary. So I thought that you could do Thriller with all the zombie dancers and stuff as a Just Dance game using the Power Pad.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
Nicely done.
That's really good. Yeah.
After Ray brought up the Zapper, I thought, is there anything you could do with the Power Pad? And you nailed it. That would be great, actually.
Why was that not a game?
No joke. Like, why didn't no one figure out to do? Because I mean, it was basically just like track and field games with that thing. Why didn't no one figure out to do?
Yeah,
Chris, you're like a genius or something.
No shit.
Like you need to go back in time. And
invest in Apple while you're back there, by the way.
It's like Quantum Leap. It's like Quantum Leap, but starring Chris.
Yeah.
she must leap from
that show
body
was
to body
last time. I'd probably get myself killed.
to fix games that went wrong and make them right.
Oh dear, no, that would.
She hopes that every leap might be the leap home. I like how they hit the end of the. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a Quantum Leap fanatic.
That's a whole nother story, man.
We're going to do a drill down episode on Quantum Leap.
Oh, dude, I would do it.
No, that's genius, actually, because I was like, I was like, seriously, when he brought up the Zapper, I thought, is there anything we could do with the power pad? And I was like, something about running, like, is there a game when you're constantly running? Then I thought, well, what about 20 days later, just running away from zombies? That's boring, though. Your idea of doing thriller, though, would be phenomenal.
Well, because it's got a great soundtrack, and then you can
See, you should have worked Rob the Robot into your Saw thing. That would have been.
Oh, my God. You just blew my mind. I'm sure we could do that somehow. But it wouldn't have to be mandatory is the thing, though, because then no one would fucking play it because it's like, well, there's like 5 of those things sold.
Oh, because you would sell a special one that had the mask on it.
Oh, there you go.
Wow, yeah.
What is that character's name?
I don't know. It's the puppet.
Jigsaw,
yeah. It looks like Jigsaw.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, actually. Wow, y'all are blowing my mind. Like I brought a knife to a gunfight. So, all right, Ray, do you have another one for us?
Yeah. So I've got a really fleshed one out here, but I'm going to go with this other one first because since we're talking about accessories. So I'm going to go with Zombieland, and the reason why I went with this one because I think it fits. So in 1987. They introduced a game called Leisure Suit Larry, and I thought that Zombieland played as Leisure Suit Larry would actually be kind of hilarious. So you're playing as the main character, but it's actually not the main character. It's the what's the guy's name?
Woody Harrelson's character?
Yeah, you're playing Woody Harrelson's character.
Tallahassee.
Yeah, so you're him, but he's because he's got that kind of. I don't know, swagger, even though he shouldn't. And so you got to walk around and collect stuff and kill zombies as you're going around, making sure that you double tap every one of them.
Nice.
So
yeah, I would have played the hell out of that. That would have been fun.
And the only key, though, is that you have to have the Nintendo glove for no reason at all.
Oh, the power glove.
The power glove.
The power glove just has to be on.
Yes.
Because what was that thing for?
My brother had the power glove. Manon had it, and it was horrible. Bad. Yeah,
there was extra inputs though, right? Like there was things that you could type in, right?
Yeah, it had it had functionality to do sort of touch like motion control stuff, but it didn't work. It didn't work properly.
No.
And then it had on the glove itself, it had a keypad that had all the inputs of a regular Nintendo control, like D-pad, buttons, all the stuff that you normally would have. But then, like you said, it had, I believe, like a full like QWERTY keyboard or something like that on there.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Leisure Suit Larry kind of fit into it because you could put in all that extra shit there too. So anyway.
Yeah, he had the power glove and I had the U-Force.
Oh my God, you had a U-Force?
I had a U-Force. It
did not have a full QWERTY keyboard, but it did have a bunch of extra keys at the top.
Okay, I barely remember.
Never had one. I never had one.
Yeah, good times.
Wow, I didn't realize it had receivers and stuff that went with it too.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was huge. It didn't work. It didn't work at all.
But it looked awesome, and everybody wanted one after the Wizard.
Yeah.
The greatest marketing thing ever made.
It was $80, and that was 80. That was back in the 88 or whatever.
That's a lot.
Yeah, the original NES ran 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was $80 for the Power Glove. I still remember that because we thought about it a lot. Manon had that thing for years and years. I don't know what happened. I think he eventually parted with it, but yeah.
Wow.
If not, even if it didn't necessarily work, you could probably still get a pretty penny for it on eBay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that shit the shit you threw out because you're like, fuck this. I don't even want to look at this again. And then you're like, what?
Yeah. Years later. Actually, no, wait a minute. Well, Poster. No, they're going for about 100, 150. So I mean, it's double the price, but
That's decent.
well, this one's bidding only $31.
There's something wrong with it. I mean,
Untested,
more
good
than
condition,
normal.
$18.50 for that amount. I would own it just to like hang it up, even if it didn't work. I'd just own it to like.
Where'd you see that price?
I'm looking on eBay right now.
Is that a bid or is that a buy it now?
No, that's a bid.
Oh well, that doesn't mean anything. The price is going to be much higher than that.
So, all right. Well, not to keep going on this subject. Si, what's your next game?
So my next one's really not that good. It's I didn't have a lot of detail on it. It's basically it's Sharknado.
Oh God!
Oh my God, that's awesome. The fact that you're doing Sharknado at all is awesome.
It's basically like, do y'all remember Echo the Dolphin?
Yes.
It was a great game.
Okay, so imagine Echo the Dolphin, except you're a shark, and it's a 30-plus hour RPG with over 25 characters that spans 3 generations of sharks.
Oh God!
You have to save your shark people from the coming tornado that threatens to destroy the coral reef. You eventually find out that you were actually the cause of all of this when you unknowingly cursed the sharks back when you were a child. And in the end, you have to sacrifice yourself to appease Poseidon, who shows up for no reason.
You know what?
Nothing like the movie.
A Nintendo game.
Right.
That's like the Nintendo version of Sharknado. Yes.
So there you go. That's
Nicely done, sir. The next movie I used, have not seen it, had to look it up, had to reference it or whatever. Actually, let me pull up the IMDb for it because I don't remember. It's called You're Next. Was 2011. When the Davidson family comes under attack during their wedding anniversary getaway, the gang of mysterious killers soon learns that one of the victims harbors a secret talent for fighting back. So basically, it's the commercials and stuff had all these people walking around with like these weird looking like animal masks or whatever, and they were trying to kill the people inside the house, apparently for no reason, just then to be vengeful or whatever, and they have to fight back. We're doing this one like Double Dragon.
All right.
You're fighting in multiple rooms in the house, and then outside, it's going to be a beat 'em up, and then of course you can pick up weapons as they drop them, so like an axe or a baseball bat or something like that. So
can you keep the spin kick though?
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah, we've got to have the spin kick. So hit both buttons together and get the spin kick going. Yeah. So, and there'll be lots of action on screen with all I think 5 characters at once. 3 enemies and 2 players. So
It's really slows the system down.
yeah. So yeah, you're gonna get a lot of
Flicker,
of flicker, a lot of slowdown. So, but it'll be awesome looking. So
It's totally worth it.
yeah. Chris, did you have another one?
I've actually seen this one. Bride of Chucky.
Oh, okay.
Bride of Chucky. All right.
Than anything. I thought could be put into a bubble bobble sort of scenario. So instead of the twins, you have Chucky and his bride, and each level you have a toy gun and you're trying to, instead of bubbles, it's just like knives and crap coming out, and you're trying to shoot and kill all the humans each level, and you get extra points for killing the kids and that kind of thing.
That's actually not bad. Like that's
I loved Bubble Bobble when I was a kid. So now I'm massacring it by putting Bride of Chucky into it.
and that's exactly what they would have done too.
They would have, yeah, and had a great time and had weird doll sex.
Chucky was, granted, Bride of Chucky was much later, but Chucky was out during that time period during the NES, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why did we never get a Chucky game?
I was wondering that. Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
I never saw Chucky. I've only seen Bride of Chucky.
Well, I think Chucky was legitimately scary for children. Like Nintendo was probably like, nope.
Really? And Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street weren't?
Well, I don't know.
Did they have dolls, possessed dolls? Did they? I don't know.
No, but they had everyone else getting killed multiple different
Child's Play was controversial. I don't know, man. Like, we're going back to the mid 80s here.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember that a lot of people were bothered by the imagery of a little kid, you know, a doll, but a little kid murdering people, you know, like when that thing happened on that Pet Cemetery, the same thing. Like, everybody freaked out about that. So, I don't know. People were very sensitive back then.
True. Very true. Right, what's your next one?
Okay, so I've only got 2 left.
Okay.
I'm going to save my fleshed one out for later. So this next one is Cabin in the Woods. Now, there's a specific scene in Cabin in the Woods
I've seen Cabin in the Woods.
where they're kind of like a control center. I haven't actually seen Cabin in the Woods, but I know that there's a specific scene where there's like a control center and they have different monsters in the background. So what I wanted to do was Cabin in the Woods as Mega Man style. And so you're Mega Man, or you're one of the heroes, and you're taking on all these different villains, and every time you beat one of them, you get a power from them. So I haven't fleshed this one out, but like, say for Freddy, you could go and vanish and then appear behind somebody or one of the other people, something like that. I don't know. But yeah.
That's actually a really good way to do it. That was actually my next movie as well. And this is the one that I had a different spin on it. I like doing it because that's the way to do it 8-bit. The way I thought about doing it, and like I said, this is where I was going to kind of cheat a little bit, is I was going to do it like Night Trap, and you were playing as the people trying to kill the kids.
Oh, okay.
Or the teenagers. So you're literally going from camera to camera, like activating these traps or whatever, and you know, trying to kill off the players or whatever, and unleashing the different monsters and this, that, and the other. So I figured it would be done like I said. I know it's kind of cheating. I said 8-bit, but Mega Man would definitely be the way to do that 8-bit. But if we're allowed to fudge it a little bit, I thought doing it like Night Trap would work really well. By the way, really good movie. Not like I said, I'm not a horror person, but I just heard so much good stuff about it, and Joss Whedon. I thought, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot, and really enjoyed it. So,
yeah, I'll have to check that one out. It's one that's on my list of I will watch eventually.
Right.
Just not one I have done yet.
Gotcha. All right, so what's your next one?
Okay, I got 2 left. I'm just gonna go through them both real quick.
Okay.
Real fast. The last one in the 8-bit era would be Hellraiser.
Okay.
And it's a puzzle game. And
of course it is.
the whole point is you have to try to solve the box puzzle. It's like a, you know, each side of the box is like a puzzle, and like you flip. It's all shitty looking. It doesn't look good. It's not like it would look, you know, like every page. It's like the screen is like a side of the box, and then you push to the right side or whatever, you go to the next side of the box or whatever, next side. So you have all the sides of the box available to you at any given moment. But like what'll happen is like one puzzle piece will flash one color, and then it'll be another color somewhere else, and you have to, it'll be like a memory game. You have to match the colors to the other colors and things like that. So as you're going from page to page, you have to remember which side was the green one on, which side was the, you know, yellow one on, or whatever, you know, and go find them. And then, you know, once you solve the puzzle, you know, then, you know, Pinhead comes out and, you know, takes you to hell. So it's really, you can't win. Even if you win, you don't win. So it's kind of a depressing game if you really kind of think about it. The
That's
other
not
one,
bad, though. I like that. It's a good idea.
Good though.
the other one I have is super simple, and it's actually retro. It's actually retro to even Nintendo. This is an Atari 2600 game.
Okay.
And it's The Shining. Okay.
Oh.
It's it's a Pac-Man clone, and you're in a green maze, and you're chasing a pink blob and a blue blob, and you have to catch them before the time runs out, otherwise you freeze. And just to like add on to it, I would have like an ad campaign sponsored by Bacardi Red. So it would be Red.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I mean, you could get away with it on the 2600.
That's exactly right. There you
You
go.
could get away with that on the 2600.
Nicely done.
Very good, sir.
All right.
I've got a few more. I'll just kind of go with my next one. The Mist. Also really enjoyed this movie except till the very end because I'm just like, really? But The Mist, I figured we'd do it in the style of Legend of Zelda. So you're moving from one location to another. You have to shoot monsters. You have to collect items. And you're just trying to make your way out of the mist, saving as many people as you can. And, of course, there's different monsters and stuff. The different buildings you have to go in are kind of like the different dungeons. And, of course, it keeps getting harder and harder. And then the monsters keep getting larger. There's different types of monsters. There's flying monsters, so on and so forth, just like there was in the movie. So, I figure I was trying to figure out, I thought about maybe doing it like in the style of Contra again, but I thought, no, let's do something a little different. And I thought, Legend of Zelda, because, I mean, they're literally going from building to building trying to, like, find supplies and everything. And I kind of thought that would fit. So, we'll do the Mist like the Legend of Zelda. And then, of course, you have this really crappy looking 8-bit gray mist over everything that makes it kind of hard to see. So I even thought about doing is just a full on RPG. And so as you're going, randomly, you have the random encounters come up.
Almost like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I decided to go with Legend of Zelda. So
Nice.
Chris, do you have any more? Any other ones?
I only have one more.
All right.
Okay, so the Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
In a Dr. Mario style. So you have all the little stick bundles that they find. You have to match them in a certain amount of time. If you don't, you build them all up, you die. And then it's like the people who are making the film throw down the little bundles. And that's all I thought of for Blair Witch. I loved that game, so, Dr. Mario. I
Nice.
spent a lot of
I
time
like that.
playing it, so all I could think of with Blair Witch was those little stupid stick bundles they found.
I like that.
You could have stick bundles, and you could have
Match them, and then
Oh, you know what?
the piles of rocks.
rocks. Yeah.
Didn't they have a commercial where he was like, "I saw the witch doctor, and this is what he said"? Wasn't that for like
I don't know.
Dr. Mario?
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh chee chee, wada bing bang. Remember that?
See, I don't remember that one. I remember the one that went call the Dr. Mario.
Oh, he's got the cue.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Oh, I remember that.
Awesome. Ray, you said you had one more, right?
Yeah, so this is my last one.
Okay.
This is the last one.
Yes.
This is mine. So I didn't stick with a movie at all. I went with Treehouse of Horrors for The Simpsons.
Oh,
Okay, that works.
Terrors, yep. So Treehouse of Terrors. No, it's Horrors. Treehouse of Horrors, yeah. So anyway, I'm using Zelda in this one as well, Legend of Zelda. But so your magic items that you pick up, so I haven't figured them all out yet, but you've got cherry bombs, slingshot. You can throw Millhouse out like a boomerang.
Okay.
Okay.
And every time you go down to the cave and you find the weird guy's just a poo standing there for no reason. So he's the one that sells you all this stuff because it's Quickie Mart, right? So you run around Springfield and you're trying to find different arcade rooms, and each room will actually represent one of the stories from the Treehouse of Horrors.
Nice.
So I went through and I picked 9 of them. So the first one was Whiz Kids, and the main boss was the half frog, half guy thing that Bart creates, where he's puking all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one was Bad Dream House, and the final one was just the red room that Todd's talking about. Red room. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bart's Nightmare would be the third one, and Homer in the Jack in the Box would be the boss in that one.
Yeah.
Island of Dr. Hibbert is number 4, and I picked the comic book guy as the Ram.
Okay.
Number 5 is Fly versus Fly, and you have to fight the fly with Bart's body. So the fly head with Bart's body. Number 6 is Terror at 5.5 feet, and you got to defeat the gremlin that's trying to beat the bus up.
One of my all-time favorite episodes.
I love that one. And then, of course, as you're running around between all of these, you have Snake's hair trying to chase you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got just little devil goblins that are always on the show. And then you also have Kang and Kudos chasing you around as well. Maybe some crusty dolls just chasing you that are set on evil, of course.
Of course.
And then, so the 8th one that I picked here, hang on a second. Sorry, number 7 is Send in the Clones. So the final boss there is just a bunch of Homers walking around. Number 8 is King Homer, and you got to beat King Homer. And then the 9th one that I picked was Time and Punishment, where Homer goes obviously back in time with a toaster. And then you have to beat the dinosaur from that one. So, yeah, that was kind of the one that I I was trying to think of what else he could use other than the slingshot and cherry bombs with Millhouse.
That pretty much covers it. I mean, you might use the like a yo-yo as like a yo-yo
to
like pull you across canyons and stuff like that.
You could shake up the cans of beer, and throw them like grenades or something.
Spray paint too. That would have been
spray paint.
I was hoping you were going to say the final episode was going to be Bart Simpson's Dracula.
Oh, that one was a good one.
There were
super fun heavy slide.
Yeah.
So that, and if I had more time, I would have gone into this. That was just the first. You remember how in Legend of Zelda there was like the first map and there was
right.
So in the second map, that's definitely going to make it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you have to go through a bunch more. And yeah.
Well, if it isn't little boy. God, I love that episode. Awesome. Nicely done, sir. I have 4 left. 3 of them aren't very fleshed out. They're just kind of throw together. But the last one that I had that I kind of planned out was The Descent. It's basically the movie's a bunch of the first half of the movie I understand is the good part. The second half is meh. But it's a team of young ladies that end up going on this spelunking tour, and it's like it basically plays on being in pitch darkness and claustrophobia and everything being really tight and like you can't breathe, you can't move. So we're doing that in the idea of Metroid. So, the majority of the screen is going to be black. And like, you can just kind of see the walls, either in front of you or behind, up and, below, above and below you. And most of it's going to be just like going around collecting items or whatever. And, you think you see something, you switch back. Oh, and then the other thing is you can only see whichever way you're facing. So like you have a light and you can only see what's in front of you. You can't see what's behind you. So I thought that might kind of work out. So, the other 3 that I threw together very quickly are the movies that are technically they're horror, but they're kind of I don't consider them being horror exactly. Cloverfield, and this definitely has to be yet another Contra clone. Running around shooting aliens constantly. And then I said Shaun of the Dead because, I watched it again last night because I love that movie. And just to totally, go off the rails, we're going to do this straight up, like Mario. It's going to be a platformer. So you're literally going to be Shaun running around, and second player will be Ed. And you're literally going to be running around and like, you jump on the zombie's head to knock him out or whatever. So, yeah. And then the final one I said would be Attack the Block, and I do it pretty much exactly the same way. It'd be another platformer. So also a really good movie. So
Nice.
but yeah, so those are the ones that I ran through. Yeah, I just thought this was a fun idea. Like I said, now granted, I have played some really good movie to game adaptations. There are a lot of crappy ones out there still, of course, but there are some decent ones out there, and actually reviewed several of them on the previous site. But yeah, just the idea of I've been messing around with these emulators, and I pulled up like the Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th, and you start playing them, and you're just like, this has nothing to do with this movie. Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So I thought that would be fun. So let's go and move on to our picks and pans for the week. Anyone like to go first?
How many of us are going to have the same pick, I wonder? Are we going to have the same pick?
I'm not, no.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's something completely different.
Well,
I picked the NHL's back.
oh,
All right.
nice.
Yay, hockey.
Canada has something to do. Yay.
I can watch my hockey again. Yay.
Good deal.
National relevance.
Well, good deal. I'm glad your sports ball came back. Even though, is it sports puck? Is it technically sports puck? Anyway.
Yeah. That's okay.
So good deal.
Go
Si,
Sport.
what is your pick for the week? Because I already know what it is, but what is your pick for the week?
Well, my pick is obviously the reveal of the Nintendo Switch.
Yay.
Finally, we find out what's up with Nintendo, and it turns out the rumors were basically true. They thought it was going to be this hybrid console and, portable and home console in one. Turns out that's true. We still don't know everything. There's still a lot we don't know, but we do know now what it looks like and how it will work. And so there's much different opinions about that, but I'm very happy about it. And of course, very much looking forward to the day one purchase, which I will be making. So
Nice.
very happy, and I'm glad to hear other people interested in it that missed out on consoles for a while that are like, hey, I'm interested in this. I'm like, good.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Each controller can become a player 1 and player 2 controller as well?
Okay.
Is that what it looks like? That's what it looks like.
Right. You've got your tablet, which is where all the beef of everything is.
Yeah.
And then you have these two detachable controllers that go on the left and right side. Those two controllers can function as like one regular controller, like a normal type control with two analog sticks and all the buttons and their full functionality and everything. Yeah. They can do that attached or separated, or some games will let you use each of those as separate controls. Like they showed off Mario Kart and something else where people were playing, each took one of those, and then they became you immediately had 2-player support built into your system, which to me, I think people greatly are misjudging and underestimating how valuable that's going to be to have two-player local support for games available like that.
I'm thinking it's awesome because that's something that I could do with Quinn and Logan for sure, where we could just be waiting for a movie to start or whatever. And
exactly the family aspect of this, like I told Cy before the show. Like my any thoughts that I had about buying, I still really haven't introduced my boys into video games, but when I do, like, when we start getting into it, like any thoughts I had for a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One are gone, because
completely.
We can play this in the living room, and like, okay, well, we don't want to, we want mommy and daddy want to watch something else, take it to your bedroom, and they can take it to the bedroom, and they can take it in the car and do, like you said, one gets half the controller, the one gets the other half, and they can play a game together. Or
I could talk for an hour, and I have.
And you went for an hour and a half.
And you have.
Game rambling. So no, definitely a good pick. So Chris, what's your pick or pan for the week?
Well, I stole mine, so I
Liar.
I actually had no idea what you guys were talking about on the back channel thread. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Messages later.
It was kind of cute. She was like, "What the hell's the switch?"
I
Like,
don't know. What's
don't worry
going
about
on.
it. We'll talk about it later.
You're gonna love it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, we just, I don't know, today we had a really great day. We went to, we slept in a little bit, and that was nice. And we went to my in-laws, and we hung out with them. We went for a really great long walk. It was like, I don't know, like almost 2 hours. And we walked to the other, but we went and saw your aunt, walked to her place, walked back, had a fantastic gut-filling dinner. Had cheesecake, which is always fantastic. And then we just came home, and now we're sitting by the fire, and it's nice. It was a good day.
Awesome. Very awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all have like one of those lives that's like hard to believe it's real. Like,
Yes, Lainey has gone about this extensively.
like nobody believes you. Like y'all probably live in like New Jersey or some shit.
Yeah.
They make up all this shit.
As soon as they get off, their accents like kick in.
Hey,
We're from New York, okay?
That
hey,
wasn't it.
No, I know. I'm not trying to do a New York accent. I'm just
hey,
saying.
hurry up, Chris! That fucking show took forever. Fuck. We gotta get down to the pier, you know.
Oh God.
In
Man,
fact,
Uncle Vito said.
Oh yeah, we're not even married.
no, yeah.
This is rude.
Chris lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, I do. Oh, that's fun.
And I'm over in New York, and we pretend that we're on the same computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris,
All the rude.
Chris is a little too pale to be from Los Angeles. I'm sorry.
I am. I'm too Scottish to live in Los Angeles.
Okay, so I'm from Los Angeles.
I'll
Gotta
be
flip
from
it around there.
or something.
Well,
Maine.
Seattle.
Yeah, that's true.
Rains a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. My pick is both my pick and pan for the week. We have mentioned a couple of people on the show have mentioned disdain for certain things from Screen Junkies online.
Oh boy.
For the most part, not a huge fan of everything they do. The one thing that stands out that I do really enjoy though is the honest trailers. And this week's honest trailers was for the new Ghostbusters movie. My pick is that they were at least smart enough ahead of time and turned off the comments.
Yeah.
Which I'm like they even mentioned it in the video. They're like, look, we're turning off comments on this because we already know what it's going to be like.
Yep.
Yeah.
My pan is that they're like, they already knew what was going to happen, but you went ahead and did the trailer anyway. And I mean, yes, granted, I kind of have, an interesting tie to this movie, but, I can also sit back and look at it and be like, yeah, there were some valid points. And of course, some of the points aren't valid. But they're funny. So whatever, cause I mean, they've done honest trailers on, actually good movies. And, they still kind of, they rip them apart as best they can. They try to find what little things they can to needle them on or whatever. So, but even in their honest trailer, they go back and forth between saying it's either a bad movie or it wasn't that bad. And I'm just like, well, you're kind of flip-flopping on it, whatever. My real pan is the fact that I found out about it. Granted, I see it whenever it comes across my subscriptions on YouTube, but I first saw it because it was a trending thing on Facebook. And I made the mistake of course, clicking on it and seeing what some of the posts were. And it was just post after post after post of people saying, this is exactly why I didn't watch this movie. It's the worst fucking movie ever. It's just garbage, blah, blah, blah. And it's not because I hate women, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, number one, you don't get to say it was the worst movie ever because it wasn't the worst movie ever. There are far worse movies out there I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But number two, if you didn't bother seeing it, you don't have an opinion that matters.
That's right.
That's just me. Because if I said, if so-and-so was the worst movie ever and you thought, well, why did you not like it? And I said, well, I didn't see it. You'd probably be like, well, fuck you. I know I would. But but yeah, it's just like I said. It's like if you watch the movie and genuinely did not like it, that's fine. That's okay. Not everyone has to like the same movies, but my God, why do we have to see stuff and make a snap decision on it and then decide it? Like, we've had this conversation before, especially Cy and I, that everything either has to be the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world. Like, nothing can be middle of the road anymore. And like, Cy was posting, he was saying the same thing about the new Nintendo. I'm like, who the hell is hating on the new Nintendo? No one's even got their fucking hands on it yet. Like,
it's the thing to do right now.
Yeah, apparently it's the thing to do. So, but whatever. So that's my pick and pan for the week. Like I said, if it is funny to watch, but it's also meant for it's meant to be humorous and everything else. So you take it with a grain of salt, like you do any other movie that you may enjoy. So, but yeah. As always, you can find the site on epicallygeeky.com. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Music. If you would, please, especially if you listen to it on iTunes, go leave us a 5-star review. There's a place there to leave, to say something about the show. Just say anything. Say what your favorite episode was. Say, tell us, if you came up with a horror movie that you think would be an awesome 8-bit translation, just post it there. So, but yeah, we'd like to see some more reviews and hopefully 5-star ratings. I'll even take a 4-star at this point. Just kind of helps gets our name out there. So, and then of course you can find the site on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Where can we find you on the internet, Cyrus Martin?
Well, you can find me at videogamevirus.com or on YouTube, and next weekend you can find me here at epicallygeeky.com for a live show.
Yes,
our live Halloween show I'll be hosting, and we'll have a chat room. It's going to be fun. Show up. We're going to do it at 9:00 Central Time? Is that what we're going to do? Or
you're running the show, whatever you want to do, man.
All right, we'll go for 9:00 Central Time next Saturday live.
Should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I do live stuff all the time, but I haven't done it for this yet, so this will be cool.
Yeah, we're actually looking at possibly starting to do the show live. Still talking about that, but one of the things that's changing, so are possibly changing, but more to come on that. So, Chris, where can we find you online?
On Instagram at Lake Life Mama.
Awesome. Ray, where can we find you?
Again, the best place is on Instagram, Lake Life Artist, and I promise some stuff's coming soon. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Before I go into my information, I just wanted to say there are some changes coming to the site. I have started kind of posting a little bit here and there about those things. Not going to go into too much detail until they actually arrive. But within the next couple of weeks, you should start seeing some new content coming on the website. The only real hint I'll give you is that make sure to listen all the way till the end of this episode, and should give you a good idea of what's going to be happening over here at epicallygeeky.com. As always, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Optimus Gene. You can find my wacky adventures over there. For everyone on the site, have a good night.